So I wanted to point out a couple things worth noting, I think, regarding my overflow, my 1¼ inch overflow. Boy, you can't see it. Hang on. Ignore the glare, because what I need to show you I can see. All my testing is done with the same design, using the T at about that height. And when I do use a T at that height, the tube that extends inside the weir has to go below that. And mine goes down to about that far. So that's one thing. Because the next thing I'm going to show you is it's the head height that it requires for different flow rates. You'll see. It's too many words for what I'm going to show you, but you'll see. And maybe that would be different if this T were higher or lower. I don't know. No experience with that. Having said that, all my testing is done with my T here, in the bottom of the tube in the weir, about here. And now I want to point out something on the weir. I'll pause this and try to get better light on that part. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm going to point out. The camera's looking pretty much straight on with the top of the weir. And all my testing is done with an enclosed weir using this design of Durso overflow. And I cut long slots in the weir. Then I used a ring that you can slide up and down the weir as a height adjustment. It's at the lowest setting right now. I can slide it up progressively higher and higher and raise the water level up to the rim. If I go much past, I can go a little farther than that, and if you continue going higher up the slots, you'll start exposing the bottom of the slots. And if you set the blue ring in the middle, you'll have about 3/8 of an inch of slot at the top skimming, and you'll have about 3/8 of an inch of slot at the bottom of below the ring, taking in water from below the surface. So that's all my testing is done with that very weir, that round weir, which is 3 inches in diameter, thin wall PVC tubing. That said, I'm going to reposition the camera and show you some flow rates and how high the water will run because of the various head heights required to push that flow rate through the overflow. I think that's well put, I hope. Hang on. And right now, all the pumps are off. There's a filter up top running. I hang on the back flue ball filter. That's what the sound is. But the sump is full. Both the primary pump, which is 430 gallons an hour, and the little secondary pump, which is 225 gallons an hour, are unplugged. One moment. Okay, and here we go. And again, this is with all tests. The weir is set to minimum. This is the minimum height I can run this tank using this setup at these various flow rates. So I'm going to plug in, excuse me, the 170 gallon an hour pump. Hang on. And you'll see the water levels start to rise. I'm going to pause this. I think, yeah, I'm going to pause this. No, I'm not either. Okay, we've got some flow in the sump now. Once I see flow in the sump, I know that it's achieved stability and it's at its final running height. A moment ago I said that pump was 225 gallons an hour. The little secondary ones, it isn't. It's 170. So, okay. So you can see how much the water level rose, what, maybe 3/8 of an inch? It takes that much more head height to push the 170 gallons an hour through that overflow. One moment. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to unplug that pump and then plug in the 430 gallon an hour. One moment. Well, I'll just let it run. Hang on. That one's unplugged. Water level will start to drop in a moment if I don't plug this one in. And so the 430 gallon an hour primary pump is running, and the sump is flowing normally at that flow rate, and you can see the water level has risen to that level. And that's how much head height it takes up top to achieve 430 gallon hour flow through that Durso overflow that I've built. Now I'll plug the 170 back in, and if you add them together, that's 600 gallons an hour. Hang on. Okay. My battery is going to die. I'm going to have to finish this maybe in a minute. Come on. Maybe I'll just let it run till it dies. But the sump's running at full volume, and so it's that's right about where it's going to run. At 600 gallons an hour, it might go up maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but that's about how high the water runs at 600 gallons an hour using that overflow.